Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, a safe and responsible Red Raider dunking display and our picks.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Now the number one sports podcast network in the world. This episode brought to you by Mazda. We put that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. A glorious and happy Christian Anderson bobblehead day to all who celebrate. That's the theme in the LBK is we're getting ready for Red Raiders and Bearcats, Chris, from United Supermarkets Arena. Going to be a tricky one for Texas Tech, and we caught up on that more so in full on our most recent episode. Hope you caught that. If you haven't, check it out on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. But as we get through the remainder of this day and closer to tip, I actually wanted to revisit something that you mentioned, I think as a result of a mention from Grant McCaslin. I'll check all that with you, that now has generated some questions among the Matador Mob regarding Christian Anderson, clearly now in the spotlight, front line of front lines, as far as what it's going to take for Texas Tech to make some noise here with JT Toppin sidelined. And it had to do with some wear and tear, or maybe a little bit of a banged up nature for Christian Anderson when it comes to this point in the season. Wanted to get a little bit more into why that's happening, maybe how he's being officiated versus some others elsewhere that we've noticed in the league, and whether or not this is something to be monitored as we approach the tournament, or is it just kind of what happens and plays out wear and tear wise at this point in the season. Also want to get to what we're going to have as well as a Christian Anderson bobblehead event this evening. High Flyer dunking exhibition is going to be a part of the festivities at the USA. This of a football variety. I'll explain in just a minute. Let's begin with C4, though, Chris. Can you tell me about actually what was said here and how this sort of came up in your conversation with Coach McCaslin, or was it a press conference setting where he did make mention of, like, a lot of people just kind of sleeping on maybe how Christian Anderson is feeling at this point in the season and how that's come to be?
Well, I just think he's played a ton of minutes this year. He's got the ball in his hands. I think teams have employed the be physical with him, really tactic from the beginning of the year once conference play started. And you can even go back to some of those non-conference games. I think that's what some teams feel like was give them the best chance, like, bumping, be physical with him, like bully him, try to, whatever. And Grant in that press conference setting the other day, do I know exactly what is wrong? No, I think it's probably just general stuff that guys are dealing with, because I think he mentioned the same thing about Donovan Atwell too, that he's playing through some stuff, but these guys are pushing through. It's that time of year. It's hard, and it just so happens these are two guys that have been most available for you, and they're playing the most minutes. And I just think that at this time of the year, it's a bit of a grind, and you've got to take care of your body. I'm not worried about Christian missing any time or, playing it less than. I think he's a dude, man. And like we talked about this too, is that I mentioned this on the broadcast. Like, he gets bumped a lot and no call. And
am I being too sensitive to notice that extra, or is that a thing compared to maybe some other guards in the league?
Do I feel like he gets enough respect with I just think certain guys, maybe Christian needs to be more of a salesman on some of this stuff, but that's just not who he is. That's not his personality. I've seen other guys, like maybe some of the other team stars, get bumped far less and get a whistle. So I'm not trying to complain. I'm just making an observation that, and this was very prevalent against Kansas State the other day. I mean, he's just getting, hand checked and pushed and bumped and jersey pulled and all that. And it's like, I guess if you can get away with it, you can get away with it. But it's just no, no call. And that part is frustrating when you see you like breathe on another team superstar and they get 8 free throws in a game. I don't know. So I'm not trying to complain. I'm just saying that it's just some imbalance there, I guess, what I would see. But maybe we're being biased because but Christian doesn't. There's no facial expression change. There is no complaining. There is no throwing his head back like a lot of guys do. And there's an art to it. I get it, but that's just not how he rolls. But he's according to his head coach. I mean, he and Donovan Atwell both are kind of playing through some stuff. And, they're going to deal with both of those guys will deal with Jizzle James and Day Thomas tonight, who have been playing very good lately. I think it'll be an interesting matchup because this is a Cincinnati team that is very big. Okay. They've got a 3-man that's really a 4 in Jalen Celestine, who came from Baylor. He's kind of plays the small forward spot, but he's really a power forward at heart. And I think he's shooting 50% from 3 from behind the arc in the last 5 games, which is when they've heated up. They've simplified, and they're playing through their 2 bigs, Mustafa Cham and then Baba Miller. They're playing through those two guys more. So if Christian gets into the lane at all tonight, he's gonna get bumped. It's gonna be discouraged. Lawan Watts is not gonna be doing much backing down and just shooting those shots that we've noticed if he's got one of these bigs on him, because he's not gonna be able to get it over those guys unless he gets one of them up in the air and then kind of initiates the foul contact. So this will be a physical, grind it Big East type feel to it. I think that would be Cincinnati's preference. So we'll see how Christian and DA and all those guys kind of handle everything. But they're dealing with a couple of hot guards and a team that is coming in super confident.
I know there's some wisdom, Chris, when you're talking about facing some serious size to just really attack it. But when you're also considering what you do very well from beyond the arc and maybe what might be there on the perimeter, or like more so benefit you, given what you're just describing, some of the physical nature you're going to find on the inside. I mean, do you see yourself orienting more toward trying to do something on the perimeter, or is it just always every day, all day, every year, attack the freaking rim until you can't anymore?
Yeah, you don't change who you are, and I think you'll still see Texas Tech run their stuff. But again, this is just going to be imperative to, like, Captain Obvious here. Shoot it well. Hey, wow, thank you for the tip there. That's called analysis, right? But
get the all-time record holder in 3-point makes to keep making 3-pointers.
Yes.
Like
do that. Yeah, do that. Just keep doing what you're doing. You just may not get many second opportunities on some of these looks because they rebound so well and they've got so much length and size. But your bigs, this is where you're going to find a lot out about Luke and Josiah and Lawan and Mariel, because this is, I mean, it's a lot staring him in the face in this one. I mean, the one of these dudes is going to the NBA, and the other one is just a 7'2", 250-pound guy that's coming off one of his best games of his entire college career. So, and I think that the Texas Tech marketing machine is emptying their bucket here. I love it. We've got all kinds of bell and whistle activity going on this evening, which I know we're about to get to, but it may be needed just to get, because you need some of this juice and atmosphere in a game like this. And you could tell the program knows this too. But some of these plans have been in the works for weeks and months and all those kinds of things. But yeah, emptying the bucket, man, on the bell and whistle activity this evening.
Yeah, I mean, already doing some scrambling with the wife to try to make preparations to get there by 6. Honey, can you get off early enough? Yes, I can. What do we do about the kids? I don't know. Forgot about them. Just thought we'd leave them somewhere. Turns out we're going to have to make plans for them also, is what she's telling me. And, of course, I've got Club Red obligations, Chris. I think I'd be fooling around with the kids prior to the ball. Yeah, a whole lot of movement happening right now. Get your sick note, get your excuses, your whatever ready. And like I said, I think already once this week, there are jobs every day that become open. So feel free to leave yours if you need to get there on time. You'll find another. You're a quality candidate. Chris, the bells, the whistles, above the rim variety. We got a dunk contest. First, today's episode brought to you by Mazda's moving the game forward for those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. Today's spotlight is on Donovan Atwell with a season high 26 points on Saturday, including 6 made three-pointers, giving him a record 100 made three-pointers this season, passing Corey Carr, who has owned the single-season record of 94 since the 96-97 season. And it's performance like that reminds us of what it really takes to raise the bar. Competitive fire, true grit, and dialing in every detail. And Mazda puts that same passion into every model. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, and the Winter Games are officially here. And if you're anything like us, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. And that's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling, where the intensity keeps ratcheting up, or speed skating races decided by mere inches. FanDuel electrifies the entire Olympic experience from start to finish. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. The bells, the whistles, above the rim variety. We got a dunk contest on deck here today from United Supermarkets Arena. Let me give you some participants for those who have not seen this. We're talking Red Raider football dunk contest. Jacoby Williams, Marcus Ramon Edwards, Micah Hudson, Oliver Miles, Terrence Carter Jr. You may notice a few prominent names on that list. Everyone, let's electrify, let's dunk, let's slam, let's get up, and let's do it very, very safely, if I could offer any advice.
Yeah, three of those players could be perceived as starters. Terrence Carter certainly is, but Jacoby and Micah Hudson, heading into this next season, those are frontline.
All conference guys. Forget the start.
That's right. I always love this. It's fun. I think those guys love it. There's so many football players. Like when I do the coaches show with Joey, and we have players on the show. You get into hey man, so if you weren't playing football, what sport would you be doing? And they almost all they all think they can hoop. They all think man, Coach McCaslin needs to give me a chance, and you almost have to ban those guys from said activity in the off seasons because you don't want anybody rolling an ankle or getting hurt doing something stupid. But a lot of these guys hooped in high school. Marcus Ramon Edwards certainly did. Jacoby Williams certainly did. And it's funny because one of the things that James Blanchard and Brian Nance and Sean Kinney and some of those guys, one of the things that they do use that tells them kind of what kind of athlete a player is, it can break a tie, it can keep a guy in the running for an offer, whatever, but it's simple as can you dunk a basketball? The end. I mean, we talked hurdling. They feel like that translates, but the being able to hoop and dunk it, I think they feel like that does translate. It's not the end all be all, and there's different kinds of being able to dunk, right, which we're about to get into now. But I just remember Jacoby Williams. There's some footage out there on his Twitter or whatever where he was through the legs. This is high school.
He's my pick. I've seen the video. I never forgot it.
Yep, through the legs. There's also a video clip of Marcus Ramon Edwards, which was a freaky deal where he missed it or somebody tried to dunk it and he went up there and grabbed the rim and with one hand is hanging on, and then he got the rebound and then he caught it. It didn't count, but it was an unbelievable video. You're like, oh my God. Because he is a unit now. I mean, he can – we've been waiting for him to get healthy and not be raw and all those things, but just go be an athlete. He's going to excel at that. But I'll tell you who my pick is.
All right.
I've got a 1 and a 1A, and we haven't mentioned them in this category yet. Because
have you got some intel? Have you been getting a scouting report in the building?
I just know what the thoughts were from talking to guys from the team last year. Right, because we would joke about these. I mean, I had a lot of these guys on the show, and they were like, "Oh yeah, he can hoop, man." Man, so and so's, But because we had this dunk contest last year too, but Terrence Carter's your favorite. I think TC was in this thing last year. TC has got some juice because the thing about Terrence, like everything else he does, he makes it look easy, but he can float, but he also provides like the power too, right? Because there's different kinds of dunking.
That's right.
I think Micah Hudson is kind of an unknown to many, that people will see like, I forgot about how freaky athletic this cat is. Because like the go up and get it in his game is not a question. He's not 6'3". He's more closer to 6 foot or 5'10", 5'11", whatever, but he can get up. So that would be 1 and 1A. But like Marcus Ramon Edwards will be interesting to watch. The total unknown to me, though, to be honest, is Oliver Miles.
Yeah.
Like he's in this for a reason, because I bet it was hard to crack this top 5. Because I'd be willing to bet you there's probably 15 to 20 dudes who are like, Coach, why are you dissing me, man? I belong in this thing. I could win this thing. Like, you crazy? And so they probably, because there's only like 5 to 7 minutes that they have time on. So I'm sure
like a speed round.
Yeah. Yes.
Chris, did you ever have like in your high school, or did you know of big man relay races when track and field?
Oh yeah.
Do we not have a O-line, D-line dunk contest? I'd like to see some big boys out there.
I go back to let's not get anybody hurt. You know, like that. I don't want to bury the lead, because that would probably lead off the news cycle. Texas Tech football gets some major player hurt in a halftime dunk contest.
Idiot podcast host had the idea. More
yeah, that's right. That's right. But yes,
my bad.
The big man relay, which doesn't actually count. It's just one of those things that's fun, right?
It counts right here.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
The heart remembers.
Number 1 in your heart, number 1 in your program. Yes, sir.
Hey, and I'm going to tell you, Vince Carter, the modern era king, maybe the all-time king. MJ, I know, is going to get a mention, but my throwback mention, Larry Nance, rocking the baby.
My favorite. So I went to the dunk contest at Reunion Arena when I was, I think, 11 years old. I think I'm correct on the year. I think it was 1984. We may have to check that. I'm going to have to Google it just to be sure. But it was Spud Webb.
Yeah. Okay, I remember this. In a Hawks jersey,
Dallas. Yes. And it was at Reunion Arena, which doesn't exist anymore, which makes me sad.
And it's because he used the shoes I was wrong. Platforms on the toe, right?
Yeah. Yes, I was close on the year. It was 1986, so I was 2 years off. 1986. But another Hawk that I just thought was like the best was Dominique Wilkins. I mean, when your nickname is the human highlight film, I'm like, okay, enough. Just hand him. But we all loved MJ, right? Yeah. And then our boy Mac McClung. You know,
that's
Mac
true.
McClung's
Yeah,
been doing his thing. You gotta, and then you've got some Red Raiders like what, Andre Emmett and Darvin Ham and Lance Hughes. That won
it's a rich dunking heritage, my man.
Yes, absolutely it is. So yeah, it's fun to do some throwback. But yeah, shout out to Spud Webb, 1986 Reunion Arena on that awesome Saturday afternoon. I was watching it, and they weren't spectacular, but when the dude's like 5'7" and he's jumping as high as he could, you're like, damn.
I can see it in my mind right now. I remember it exactly. Yep. You want to talk highlights, and I can see Andre Emmett too, jumping over a bunch of school children because Dre loves the kids, this side or the other. You know, that's true. That's right. Red Raiders do it unlike any other. So looking forward to seeing something interesting. Hopefully not too interesting, but interesting in all the right ways coming up tonight from United Supermarkets Arena. Chris, we'll check back in with you on the scene later on from the USA, and we'll reconvene on the other side of whatever's going down. Got to have a win, and this one would be much, much different as far as the feel if you get it as compared to Saturday. So can't wait to see how it shakes out, and we'll see you for the next one.
Sounds good. See everybody there. Again, go partake. Get there early. You're in for a war tonight, and that's at halftime too, obviously. Go show up early and get you a bobblehead if you're into such things too.
That's right.
Giving 1,000 of those away from CA, so it'd be awesome. Christian Anderson.
Yep, going to have a future first-round pick bobblehead, I would have to imagine.
Yep, that's right.
Not a shabby price. Hopefully we're taking home a win, too. Thank you to the everydayers, all the timers for always riding along, and the Matador Mob. Hit our show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial if you're interested in joining that crew. It's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.